disappear. Have no fear, disappear. Have no fear, disappear.
Before I go ahead and get into the actual performance part, do we have any dancers in the audience? Yes? I want to see you guys front and center. I'm dead serious. This is hip hop. It's going to be a cipher, and I want to see. You better jump over her. I'm supposed to be giving you guys a brief history. I really am not a talker. I don't like the microphone. I'm a mover. But I'm supposed to be giving you guys a brief history about the history of hip hop dance and how it evolved since you learned so much about the culture and about the music and those things. So I'm going to just pull my Wendy Williams moment. My cheat sheet, so I talk quick, right? So just, hip hop is, of course, it's an African-American dance expression. And it evolved around the late 60s, early 70s, in the New York City area and in the LA area simultaneously, believe it or not. It kind of happened around the time the funk music was really popular. There was James Brown, and there were a lot of other funk artists that were doing a lot of improvisation from jazz and elements with the drums and the horns. And there was a very popular dance called the Good Foot. And at the time, the Good Foot was very up, and it was very loose, and it was very free. So it got to be the point where things are like now. Dances, it became so widespread that people began to incorporate them into the regular, everyday vernacular as far as partying and clubbing and things of that nature. And then it kind of evolved with the music, because what happened with the music was there was the DJ who decided, you know what, we love this funk music, but the part where there's just the drum and there's no singing, it's just not long enough. So they would take that part and they would loop it over and over and over and create what we call now the break. And every time the break of the song would come in, there was this DJ, specifically DJ Kool Herc, who had a whole bunch of friends that he always liked to take to every party that he would go to. And he began to call them his break dancers. So these break dancers would come in when the break in the music came, and they would just kind of go out and show off their moves. And it really was something that was more just like popular moves that were going on at the time. But of course, when it comes to fads, it started to get old. So people were tired of watching the Good Foot. So a lot of African Americans, a lot of black people kind of moved on and said, oh, we don't want to do that dance anymore. It's old, it's played out, no thank you, goodbye. So what happened was there was a large migration of Puerto Ricans and Latins, specifically from Brazil, that began to be in the New York City area, and they would incorporate a lot of gymnastics and capoeira and martial arts, specifically from like the Bruce Lee movies that would play on reruns nonstop. Anybody who grew up in the 70s knows. So they would incorporate all those acrobatic movements into the Good Foot, into the break dancing, and it became more floor-oriented, and then it became more powerful, and it became something that completely evolved from just doing the Good Foot to an actual dance called break dancing, and now it's evolved to what we call b-boying, because it wasn't a break dancer anymore, it was a b-boy or a break boy or a break girl. So that came, and at the same time on the West Coast, same thing with the funk music, they were doing a lot of things as far as popping. And a lot of people will call it pop locking, but popping and locking are two separate things. And popping was something where they would create this illusion with their body that they would jerk or pop to the beat, or create an illusion that they were doing the back slide, which some of you guys know as the moonwalk, or they would glide across the floor. So popping became that expression on the West Coast, and at the same time there was also locking that evolved. And locking was one of those dances that actually came from accident. And there was a guy named Don Campbell Locke, and he was an excellent dancer, but he forgot everything that he was going to do when it came out to being on the dance floor. So he'd get ready to do his dance, and then he'd stop. Wait a minute, I forgot my move. And he would lock into place. And it just became one of those things where he didn't want to look stupid, so he just, I meant to do that. Yeah. And so there was popping and there was locking, and even under those styles specifically, there were other sub-styles that began to emerge. So when we say hip hop dance, we actually talk about a whole lot of different subgenres that we all call hip hop dance as a whole. And I have a whole list. We could just go on and on. There's house, there's crumping, there's sea walking, there's heel toe, there's Jamaican styles and reggaeton. So there's so many different things under the umbrella term of hip hop dance. So that's where a lot of it came from. That's where a lot of it evolved. What happened in the 80s and 90s, where the introduction of music videos changed everything because people had to codify it and they had to make it so that multiple people could do a dance that was primarily made as a freestyle or an improvisation. So it began to change into a form that you had to start naming moves. You had to start doing things a little bit more toned down so that the masses could understand it and they could also produce it themselves also. So that became how it became stuff with the studios and watching it on stage and on music videos and where we are now in 2013. And we have this huge cultural phenomenon that creates shows like America's Best Dance Crew and battles around the world called hip hop dance. So there it is, right? I didn't talk too long, did I? Does anybody have any questions before we get started? Specifically about a style or just any questions about the historical context of it? Yes.
Do you think Soul Train had influence over?
Yes, well, actually, Don Campbell Locke, the guy that created locking, he actually had a group called the Campbell Lockers, or they turned into the Lockers, and then there was also another group called the Electric Boogaloo's that made regular performances on Soul Train. So when Soul Train was on TV every weekend, there was, they were taking these dances, again, that were improvisational dances and freestyles, and it was broadcast all over America. And even, I think a lot of service members overseas were watching it too, because some countries that had service members were also bringing American television programs in. So Soul Train was very fundamental and part of spreading the culture to Middle America and to the South and to other places outside of just the coastal regions. Good question. Anybody? Yes.
You said B-boy referred to break boy. Where did the rise of bad boy come from?
I'm not sure I understand.
Well, I mean, some people think that B-boy stands for bad boy.
Well, because I don't know specifically why, but I think maybe it's just the whole abbreviation of the culture or how, the rap culture and the MC part of it, they'll take words and mix them up and change it, but I've never really heard that before, so I wish I could answer it better. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Where do you see hip hop dance going now? Like, what are the major dances that are coming out of it now?
Well, right now, specifically, most recently, I'd say probably about 5 or 6 years ago, there was a large crumping movement. And it was a kind of back to basics counterculture movement because, again, hip hop became so codified. And when I say codified, I mean it became so to the point where you could almost predict what certain dancers or what certain groups were going to do as far as taking it out of it being so improvisational. And crumping took it back to its original influence, which was a lot of African dance and a lot of vernacular dance from the islands and all the different places, and crumping just took it back to a place where it was more internal and less presentational. And I see a little bit of that going on more outside of the US, but I don't see it happening a lot here. Unfortunately, we do have a consumer culture, so we have to sometimes make things that balance the art between the entertainment. But I would hope that it would get more back to that. And I would hope that a lot of the crews and a lot of the dancers try to bring that element back into it. If that answered it. Yes?
Where do you see hip-hop concert dance with companies like Billy Harris, Pure Movement, that I know that you studied with Rennie? What
think the strength of Randy's company and even in some extent, people like Ron K. Brown who take the West African and fuse it with house is amazing because it still honors the African tradition of using your history and bringing it current also, you know. But the one thing that I personally have issue with is kind of bringing in styles that have more of a Eurocentric base, like contemporary dance and a lot of, you know, I've seen a lot of the stuff, but I enjoy it. I enjoy that. That's the issue I take with it, because hip hop is not something that is from a Eurocentric base. It's grounded and it's here, and it doesn't have a contemporary influence, like a lot of the things that I've seen with some of those companies. But I understand also that these are the audiences that they're playing to also. So it kind of, again, the whole art versus entertainment argument. You know.
Is there a southern component to hip hop? Like, say, for example, when I was teaching in Memphis, I noticed that they had something called evenings. And I wonder if is that considered a form of hip hop? And if so, even if it is, there isn't. You mentioned LA and New York. What about the South and Chicago?
The funny thing about the South, and well, Chicago's a whole other thing, but the funny thing about the South is it's still hip hop and it's strong, but it's so much slower. So in order to move to it, you have to change your whole body information. You know, like when the Soulja Boy became popular. And it's so slow, but whereas in the 90s we were used to, and then just to go from there to this was like, okay, how do I slow down that fast? You know, it's almost like a mind, if you want to say. But the thing about Chicago is it's on the opposite spectrum. And rhythmically, especially when it comes to the rappers, as you know, a lot of them, they like to play with the rhythm on a double tempo. So when you see a lot of Chicago dancers, they do also do that movement-wise too, because that's the music that they're familiar with. That's the music that they frequent on the radios out there. But there is a southern component. It's very laid back, and it's very kind of hard to incorporate into a theater space or a performance space. It works well with videos, and it works well with the general public because a lot of people who aren't movement artists can, you know, they can create it and repeat it also. I'll say one more, two more.
Thank you. I'm curious about this venue. Because when I walked in, I noticed people sitting down looking at a DJ. But when I had a conversation, and someone pointed out this is the campus of a major university. But is hip hop just entertainment? Because I'm a funky fresh DJ, and all I did was have fun. But what are we extrapolating here? Do rock and roll have such attention upon the artistic aspect of it, the historic aspect?
Do they have such a focus upon
They
it?
did a great job. I listened to Electric this afternoon. It was wonderful, wonderful. Excuse me. But I'm just curious, is there any other entertainment that has such focus about the political importance, the historical importance? Isn't it just fun?
I mean, yeah, well, everything is about balance. And there was a part of the culture that was about just having fun and releasing stress, but that also came from a very real place also. You have to understand, in New York and in LA in the 70s, these weren't the Disney cities that they are now. You know, Times Square did not look like that in the 70s and the 80s. So of course, the music was going to reflect that. And because that's what the people were living, you know, the artists are going to be a mirror to the community. And a lot of the artists, yes, wanted to just get away and I'm making money, I'm going to blow it, hey, everybody party. But a lot of artists also they came from some very, 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 very humble roots. So of course it was reflected in the music. So yeah, some of it was fun, but I think the political stuff definitely came from a real place. It wasn't a forcibly, you know, created thing. If that's what you question.
I was just wondering, do we extract the same observations from rock and roll, country music,
listen to country. I have to be honest, so I don't. But I think I've heard country's pretty depressing. So at that point, thank you for your question. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the questions, but I want you guys to enjoy yourselves tonight. Again, have fun and also turn your brains on because I have to live in those two worlds also. And if I ask for help, again, this is a hip hop show, so that's why we made all this space up here. Yeah. All right, thank you guys. Thanks for coming out.
Apocalypse already hit, yet we faking it. Went to the devil for a deal, now he making it. Take it, no shame on your back for an industry. All about fame, image, only want celebrity. Me, I'm all culture. Born, raised, bred. That's what it's supposed to be, but it's dead and it lost a lot of relevance like a little while ago. When everybody and their mama started spitting flows, never mind the fact that it's shallow like kiddie pools. Looking for the content, be subject to ridicule, not about nada. Don't nobody see, all we do is follow. Runners into wannabes, and when it drops, I don't watch, I just wanna leave. Reruns, not even interesting. Body marked up like a subway in any town, and like a train take us for a ride to get around. Integrity, it comes and goes like a schedule. Every 15, a new bunch of semi-pros. Really though, if the time came to show and prove, there'd be a steady stream who readily get rid of you. Situation critical, we need a resolution stat. Like Aaliyah, could we please bring the life back clear on what I'm saying and matter of fact, going to resurrect the movement. To the people be the power and the judgment. Frustrated, ain't the word, I need art, man. Regurgitating ain't creating, better come again. Let the outsider in, fuck the sideline. The pen is mighty like a sword, check the byline. Write my own lines, create my own rhymes. Eve of destruction, I'm committing crimes by taking all the dollars and break them into dimes. 10 of me make 100 every time. Filled with new material, real and inventive, yo. Talent is defended out of legend, not for trivial pursuit. All the game you played, you turned and now it's done. Realizing in the end you're just a lost one, no one ever cared, it was just a phase. Here today, tomorrow, on to the next craze. Now this is the point where my thoughts escape me. Tried to keep up, but my mind is racing. Some of y'all don't get it, but it just don't faze me. I gotta be me, even if you hate me. No longer see the world through rose-colored glasses. Sprinkle sugar, but the syrup was molasses. Some of y'all don't get it, but it just don't faze me. I gotta be me, even if you hate me. Even if you hate me.
Many people you know might be doubters and not know it's true. From my bedroom to the hallway, to the hallway, to the alleyway, to the alleyway, to the freeway, to the freeway, to the highway. But here's something from me. It's music. It's music. It's music. I can deal with the stupid haters. I spent on me some stupid verses. You put them in the verses. I chop up all the beats. You put the beats from my mouth like some waiters. Yeah, they're best. I can deal with the stupid haters. I spent on me some stupid verses. You put them in the verses. I chop up all the beats. You put the beats from my mouth like some waiters. Yeah, they're breaking. That's just why we like that. That's just why we like that. That's just why we like that. Yeah, they're breaking. That's just why we like that. That's just why we like that. That's just why we like that. do this, we do that. That's why we do this. It's the music. For the beat, for the beats, for the beat, for the beats, beats, for the beat, for the beats, for the beats, beats, for the
September 27, 2002. To whom it may concern. This letter is to serve as an introduction of me to you. And me, well, I am what I am. Born as Anton Smith Jr., raised in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, transformed through and while I somewhat remember the carefree times of hide and seek in childhood games, African dance on Thursday evenings at the local community center is the most distinct of many memories. Stop. Mix in the neighborhood drill teams doing their thing on Germantown Avenue. Mr. Maury blasting Bob Marley or Mr. Farrakhan himself. And don't forget Grandma listening to gossip. And there you have it, but not really. Then came the hip hop and the reggae rebellion. Times are changing. Storytelling, the streets won't let me chill. 1001 anecdotes about the ill from the shots to the block. Hotels, they never stop. I'm the wild most high. Pull me up to the top. Damn. Good, bad, indifferent. The spark had been started and the flames fanned. Just like everyone else, I fought until I found time. Can be stopped or can we make it slow? There's so little time and so much time. But time too, like everything else, is only what you make it. And its essence, just a word. Give it whatever meaning you want it to have. Dance, just a word. And still so much there. Dance. You call it, and I call it. But in its essence, one thing. A fire in my blood, a calling in my ears, and a knowingness in my heart. To move. Dance. Split wide open, analyze. Still feel the heat of his fiery eye. And yet as I look for the answer to why, can't stand to see the lies inside me. What I see. Ballet, salsa, jazz, African, samba, modern, folklorical, breaking, tango, mambo, cha-cha, popping, lounging, tapping, clubbing, hip-hopping to the beat. A fire in my blood, a calling in my ears, and a knowingness in my heart to move. Sincerely, Anton. Dance.
Oh, Mr. Lieutenant, I see you asking for
Too much too late to undo.